cultivating this sense of inner peace so that when the body and the mind become inflamed by some sort of external circumstance, you can very rationally and calmly respond. The ability to take a deep breath and not react, just take a second to observe what's happening in the body and in the mind, and then to calmly and patiently respond. That is a skill to value beyond many others. I was working at the restaurant today and a to-go order came in. Somebody asked for almond butter toast and then sent like a long note saying, I would order here more, but you guys don't have a side of eggs on the menu. I love a side of eggs with my almond butter toast. And I was like, cool. I didn't know it wasn't on the menu. Maybe it's not on the to-go menu. So I made the almond butter toast and then I made some eggs. I was like, you know what? I'll write this person a note, make them some eggs, send it on. Merry day. Get a phone call like an hour later. And it's the person who ordered the almond butter toast and sent the note about the eggs. They were like, yeah, I got the eggs. They're terrible, man. Like, who made these? Like, whoever made them, like, and the grill that they were made on, it's just, they're terrible. They're inedible. This has got to be fixed. And I sensed in my body when I was on the phone, like, I sensed, like, that a past me, I'll say it like this because it's kind of complicated because I didn't want to lash out at this person. But a past me would have maybe been like, yo, how about you chill? I sent you some eggs, dog. No, I'm kidding. But there was a past me that I feel like would have reacted in whatever kind of way, right? Defensive, like defending myself, defending the restaurant, that just defensive, right? And then that would have caused that person to be defensive. So I just noticed that there was some shifting, there was some inflammation happening in my body. And I just said, hey, thank you for letting us know how we can better serve you. I will make a note of all of this and I will make the adjustments. Thank you so much. And that person's demeanor went from not only perturbed, but kind of attacking to very lovely. That would not have happened if I would have reacted the way that my body and my mind wanted to react. But taking just a moment to take a breath, observe what's going on in the body. Okay, inflammation, there's defensiveness is popping up. Deep breath. Thank you. And I suppose you can always start with just saying thank you. You could, kind of disarms that person and it gives you something to register immediately as you're processing because maybe you don't know what to say. Thank you. Thank you for telling me what I can do better. So try just saying thank you. So something comes in to your awareness from outside. Somebody says, somebody does, what happens, it comes into your awareness and it ascends to an impulse or a reaction. As it is ascending, you can choose whether or not you'd like to give it energy, if you would like to contribute to its momentum. So the impulse comes in. I'm holding it now and I'm looking at it. Ooh, there it is. You know what? I'm throwing that out. I'm going to cultivate a response. Here's my response. Impulse, ascent. And sometimes it comes with a lot of force, a lot of velocity. When I was younger, I had a lot of trouble managing my anger because something would come in, it would ascend quickly, like swiftly and brutally, and then just whack, rage. What I had to do was learn how it moved through my body, what the ascent to rage or the ascent to a temper tantrum felt like. Once you know what it feels like, you can balance it out, bring it out in front of you, watch it, and dissolve it with your presence, with your conscious awareness. You can dissolve these things. Now, I'm not perfect at it. This is just something that I'm working on and have been working on for a long time. Sometimes it's great and I'm non-reactive. Sometimes things can get heated. Now, the benefits of non-reaction or not reacting immediately: increased mental clarity, an increase in your presence, because it takes presence to observe and become aware of what is happening in your body rather than subconsciously acting it out. In that, there's confidence. In that, your response is elevated. Your relationships become deeper and better because of the communication. That conscious awareness is translating into listening, processing, and giving a thoughtful response. It also frees you from these outrage cycles, which take so much energy. It's not only the energy of the moment, but it's the energy that lingers for the rest of the day. I've had things happen to me where my energy may be completely destroyed for a whole day until I can sleep it off. Fights are like that, right? Because there's a lot of emotion. So quickly can something small combust into something magnificent. And by magnificent, I don't mean necessarily great. So if you find yourself reacting, remember that you don't have to react. You can simply observe what's happening in your body. Little pangs of anxiety, anger, fear. You can simply take note. Ooh, that sent like a little electrical sparkle into my heart hearing that or thinking of this thing. Whew. You ever get, you ever think of something and you kind of get hit with like this tingling contraction, a little bit of a anxious twinge? Happens to me a lot. Take note. Ooh, I didn't like thinking about that. A couple practical ways to cultivate non-reaction. The 24 to 72 hour rule. Okay. Now, this applies for emails, text messages, things like this. We feel like we have to respond immediately. We don't. In this day and age, there may be a little tussle, an argument that's over text or DMs or a comment. That's a perfect opportunity to practice non reaction, because it's not happening in your immediate physical environment. You can wait 24 hours before you respond. You can wait 72 hours. You don't have to respond. Next time somebody sends you a text or a comment or a DM or something that allows you to have that 24 to 72 hours, take it. That person may even come back and because of the silence that you're taking for yourself. It's not to be manipulative. It's for your it's for the cultivation of an intentional response that is good for you and it's good for them, especially if you value that relationship. But that person may come to you at hour 48 because you're taking 72 hours to respond. They may totally flip. Wow, I just thought about what I said. That was not good. I'm sorry, actually. You can allow breathing room in your life, in your relationships. You can allow for that space to exist so that you can explore the best, most beneficial way to respond. Meditation, great way to cultivate non-reaction. Maybe the best way, at least for me. When I am consistently meditating, I am more peaceful and more non-reactive, on top of a myriad of other things. Sometimes I talk to people, they say, "Oh, I don't like meditating," or "I've tried to meditate before. I don't get it. I don't like it." If you're one of those people, first of all, that's okay. It's no problem. Perhaps in your experience with meditation, perhaps you were approaching it from a sense of trying to attain something. This is difficult because we live in like this hustle producer culture, right? So meditation can be difficult because you're sitting there doing nothing, not producing anything. You're having to sit with your thoughts. Most of us spend our time, whether we know it or not, trying to escape our thoughts through any means necessary. Name anything. The phone is a huge one that we are all guilty of. It is so easy to slip below the thinking mind and tune out entirely. Food, TV, alcohol, drugs, sex, going out, whatever it is, there are so many things that we do to distract us from having to deal with what's within. The simplest thing that one could ever do is sit by themselves and do nothing. It is simultaneously the hardest thing to do. Why? Why is that so hard? Because we have to deal with what's in here. We have to be confronted by it. No one wants to do that. Why? What does that say? Not only about us, but about our society, about our culture, about our values. What does that say? So, with meditation, the idea is to sit and observe. You just try to observe your thoughts. As soon as you realize that you are having a thought, the thought goes away because you have created separation. In our daily lives, there's us and there's the thought or the mind, the ego, and we kind of go through life together like this. What we want to do is we want to create separation, a gap of time between a thought and us perceiving That's consciousness, that's presence, that's space. That's what meditation is. We want to sit as the watcher, as the observer, and just look at the thoughts, not be the thoughts, witness the thoughts. So that's all meditation is. It's not asking you to do anything except look at your thoughts. That's it. You don't have to become enlightened. You don't have to attain. You don't have to produce. You don't have to please anyone or anything. If you give yourself permission to do that, you can settle into this feeling and you can grow your peace of mind so that you're not reacting in this world that is designed to poke you and prod you and engage you in a way that activates your nervous system to such a degree that you burn out every day. We're all fried, especially if you live in big cities. We're just fried all the time. So meditation is the best, most proven, ancient wisdom and scientific method to create some separation between who you really are and your thinking mind. So you can ask yourself, does this require my energy? Is what's happening right now, does it need me to engage with it? Maybe it does. Okay, I'm going to engage intentionally. I don't want to tell this story, but I'm going to. The other day, I come out of my apartment. It's 6:15 in the morning. It's dark. And there is a homeless man sleeping in the carport. The day before this happens, there's a shared thread of the people who live in the apartment complex saying that there's a man going around looking through people's stuff. He's staying between the two doors at the top of the stairs, and people can't get out of their apartments. There's a single woman with a baby who is scared. So next day, I'm walking to my car and I think to myself, well, this might be the guy who's been going through people's stuff. I'm going to ask him to leave. So I asked myself, does this require my attention? Does this require my energy? The answer was yes. So I very lightly and politely woke him up, said, good morning. I'm going to have to ask you to be on your way. It's morning time. People are coming out to their cars. He didn't want to leave. I was very nice. I said, well, I'm sorry. It's time for you to go. It's morning time. People are waking up. They're coming out to their cars. They need to go to work, and you're laying in the carport. So you have to move. He didn't want to go. He became verbally aggressive, told me that it was his neighborhood. In that moment, I realized I'm going to have to remove him if he's not going to remove himself, because now he is a threat. And so I put my stuff down, I took my jacket off, and I squared up with him. I said, walk down the street, go to that street down there, and walk down it. I don't want to see you here again. And he did. Thank God. It didn't have to come to blows. The point is, I had to intentionally engage. I wanted to be nice. I wanted to be considerate, but I also needed to take responsibility for my community. I needed to take responsibility for the security of the people in my community. Sometimes you have to engage, but you can do it from a place of intentionality. Now, if I hadn't been meditating in the mornings and trying to transform, I may have approached him from a different place mentally. Outcome turned out to be the same because he wanted to test me. That confrontation bothered me the rest of the day. Did I do the right thing? Was I too much of an asshole? Was I too aggressive? In my mind, because I was intentional and I didn't approach him from a place of triggered emotion, I said, you know what? That was the right thing to do. When there's people who are scared and unable to defend themselves, it's not fair to them. Curate your inputs. We can't do this with everything. You drive yourself mad trying to control every stimulus that is passing by. And life is about being confronted with challenge, things that you can't control, identifying it, putting it into its proper cabinet so that you can intentionally engage, not engage, or disengage. But you can curate input, the music that you listen to. How about news? What's your Instagram feed look like? What does it say on X? How does it make you feel? Are you addicted to the way it makes you feel? These inputs we can control. The TV that you watch, the amount and the degree of what it is. Is it true crime? Is it the Great British Baking Show, which I love? Makes me want to eat chocolate. I'm not saying that any of these things are good or bad. I'm just saying, are you mindful about the selection of what it is and how it impacts you and how much you're taking in? Because that is a part of how we shape our nervous system. If you listen to loud, violent music all the time and you watch violent shows and you listen to paranoid media, what does that do? How is that reflected in your behavior as you interface with people and the environment? So that is something that you can begin to identify in your life as, hey, you know what? I like this. I'm just going to compress how much I take in. I'm not going to do it as much. Experiment with that. That's a part of your agency and your volition. Take responsibility for that. Finally, we have the power of silence. Once you realize you don't have to say anything just because you want to, you might learn something. I'm going to make a separate video about the power of silence because there's a lot to talk about there. And for this video, we'll take the silence and the power in it as the power itself. Take a look at what's going on. Nervous, anxious, inflammation. Take a moment of silence. We'll see you next time.